Coming up next on HOOTEN'S Arkansas football, highlights from the second round of the high school playoffs, including undefeated Pine Bluff playing host to the Southside Rebels, Sylvan Hills and Clarksville, the Delta Swarm and the Senators, and the Curly Wolves against Oak Grove, plus many more games. And we'll take you to Hot Springs to meet the Marines Scholar Athlete of the Week, and down to Whitehall for the Spirit Student of the Week. Hard-hitting highlights, pre-game pep talks, post-game reaction, and the latest HOOTEN'S rankings. It's all coming up in the next 30 minutes. It's gonna be beastin'. It's HOOTEN'S Arkansas football.
Let's take it to him.
You stuck it to him and you won it.
This is our time of the year.
Check this out.
Hello and welcome to HOOTEN'S Arkansas football, Arkansas's only statewide high school football show. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we do have highlights from all across our state, from all over in East Arkansas, all the way to Wynne and up in Northwest Arkansas at Springdale. We covered the state last night in the second round of the high school football playoffs. Some great games. And tonight we will begin in Class 2A. And our number one team all season has been Harding Academy. Last night up at FirstSecurity Stadium in Searcy, the Wildcats played host to Hampton. And that's where we'll begin our highlights tonight on HOOTEN'S Arkansas football. Hampton's fiery coach, Brian Boomer Brown, and his Bulldogs came to play last night. Fullback Wesley Abels is a load and has some speed too. This long run would set up Hampton for an early 7-0 lead. Bulldog quarterback Derek Sanders gets the score on this 20-yard run, and it was 7-0 early. But Harding would answer in a hurry. That's the Harding way. Caleb Keys has thrown 50 touchdown passes this season. On 3rd down and 36, he finds Jordan Huckabee for the first down. And then Keys hooks up with Huckabee again, this time for a Harding touchdown. It's a 44-yard scoring connection, and that tied it up at 7. But the boys from South Arkansas were resilient. Hampton giving it to the man, Wesley Abels. He is reportedly headed for Rice. What do you think? Abels might do well in Coach Ken Hatfield's flex bone offense. His 67-yard gain would set up a 1-yard touchdown run, and Hampton was back on top. But Harding had too much keys last night. It took the Wildcats just 2 plays to tie it back up again. Craig Kell will score on a 26-yard catch, and the top-ranked Wildcats go on to remain undefeated. And next week, we'll play host to Charleston. Final score, Harding Academy 42, Hampton 28.
Tonight is an opportunity to go one step farther, and that's beat Prescott out there in about 10 minutes. That's all you got to do. It's simple.
Charleston coach Shane Story and his Tigers were looking for their 12th win of the year last night and a trip to the quarterfinals. Playing host to Bauxite, Charleston would strike first when senior quarterback Doc Crowley goes long to classmate Darren Heiss. That would set up this touchdown run. Fullback Chris Akers and Charleston led it 6-0. But Bauxite was gritty early, responding with a 14-play, 91-yard drive. The Miners capped it with this 4-yard touchdown run by Andrew Ring, and Bauxite took a brief 7-6 lead. But only 12 seconds later, on 1st down, Charleston heads for the hill. It's super sophomore Drew Hill racing 58 yards for the touchdown, and Charleston led 12-7. The Tigers never looked back from there. Final score, Charleston 33, Bauxite 13. Down at Danville last night, the Little Johns played host to the talented Bearden Bears. And the HOOTEN'S can feel the love tonight. But the hometown fans were feeling uneasy late in the 4th quarter with Danville clinging to a 14-7 lead. That's when Bearden marched down the field behind the running of Jermaine Gregory, who carried 30 times for 156 yards. But it's Bearden's Mark Beelan who caps the drive with this short touchdown. Danville and Bearden were tied 14-14 at the end of regulation, and they were still tied after one overtime at 21-21. In the second overtime on Danville's first play, senior quarterback Joe Short keeps it for the score, and after a missed extra point, the Little Johns led it 27-21. Then it was Bearden's turn, and the Bears faced 4th down from the 5. This is the ball game. Brian Rawls throws it to Creston Gibbs, but Danville senior Chris Woods is there to break it up. Undefeated Danville survives and travels next week to speedy Mineral Springs. Final score, Danville 27, Bearden 21. And here's looking at Hooten's Arkansas football Class 2A rankings. Harding Academy is still on top. The Wildcats advance, but not before being pushed by that scrappy bunch from Hampton. Junction City was also challenged by Hector last night, but prevailed 14-6 at home. Rison took out Elkins last night, 41-12. Charleston is headed for Harding and Mineral Springs. We knew the Hornets had an offense. Now we know they have a defense. They stuffed Barton last night, 28-8. Danville's number 6 after surviving Bearden. The Little Johns are headed to Mineral Springs next week. Hughes has speed, and that kills teams from the 5AA like Jesseville. Mount Ida has won the past 2 weeks in overtime by identical scores. Barton finishes the season at number 9, and Hampton is at number 10. Hector was underranked all season and proved it last night at Junction City. Then it's the Bears and Jesseville. Carlisle started the season at number 11, finishes at number 14. Then it's the Go Devils, the Indians, the Buckaroos, Ozark and Hazen, and Elkins with a great turnaround season. The Elks were 2-9 a year ago.
Now the Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Hot Springs defensive end Kyle Myers is just as comfortable in calculus class as he is sacking opposing quarterbacks. He wants to play major college football, but he knows his studies are more important.
Number one above football, because football only lasts so long, but this will get me through the rest of my life. It takes a lot of commitment in the classroom and on the field. All year long for both.
Congrats to a large Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week, Hot Springs Kyle Myers.
Thanks a lot, Mark, and congratulations to Kyle Myers, our Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week. Coming up next, more of Hooten's Arkansas football, highlights from Class 3A, and the latest AAA rankings are next. You're watching Hooten's Arkansas football.
Now more of Hooten's Arkansas football, brought to you by FirstSecurity Bancorp.
2 years ago, the Star City Bulldogs came to Little Rock and shocked the Pulaski Academy Bruins in the second round of the playoffs. And last night, Pulaski Academy again, big favorites, 23-point favorites at home against Star City. But Star City came to play with a game plan to play physical and hit PA's receivers hard after the reception. Watch Blake Miller coming across the middle. He'll drop the pass and is leveled by Sonic super teamer Andy Eklund. Pulaski Academy would regroup and go to work on their next possession. Quarterback Adam Thrash rolls out and finds Miller, who scoots up the sideline before he's rocked by Eklund again. That drive would stall, and Eklund shows why he's this year's Hooten's Class 3A super team quarterback, rolling out under pressure and heaving it up 30 yards for Roderick Currington. But this drive wouldn't produce any points for Star City either. In fact, neither team scored until late in the first half, and in the second half, Star City would score twice in the final 4 minutes to pull off the upset and earn a trip to the quarterfinals for a second straight season. Final score, Star City Bulldogs 28, Pulaski Academy 21. From broken-hearted Pulaski Academy to red-hot Prescott, last night the Curly Wolves in Central Arkansas to take on Pulaski Oak Grove. And Prescott's junior quarterback Zach Martin finds Jason Butler in the corner of the end zone. That put Prescott up 14-0 early. Oak Grove would come back with fullback Fabian Woods ripping off the long run, and that would lead to a score, but Prescott had too much. The Curly Wolves have won 7 in a row. Final score, Prescott 14, Oak Grove 9. From Oak Grove to Ozark now, where the Hillbillies played host to the Pocahontas Redskins last night. This is Pokey quarterback Andrew Bell throwing the toss to B.J. Ford, but the Redskins never got much going on offense, while Ozark fed the Redskins a steady diet of Andrew Hasty. He rumbled for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ozark's backup quarterback, Chaz Holderman, caps the scoring drive, and the Hillbillies scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions. Final score, number 2 Ozark 41, Pocahontas 0. Quickly, here's Hooten's Arkansas football Class 3A rankings. Warren is still on top. The Lumberjacks were sluggish in their 39-6 win over Brinkley last night. Ozark holds on to number 2, and Gosnell's undefeated headed to Warren for a big showdown next week. Newport's number 4, and then it's Nashville. The Scrappers are in the quarterfinals for the 11th straight season. Star City's number 6, then it's Rivercrest, Prescott, Pulaski Academy, and Booneville. The second 10 starts with Pokey, then it's Berryville, Oak Grove, Dover, and Brinkley. Greenland 16, followed by the Cardinals, the Wildcats, Ashdown, and Dumas.
Now, the Arkansas Department of Higher Education's Spirit Student of the Week.
James Kaufman is a whiz on the trumpet, but he's even better with numbers.
I even went to a calculus competition and placed first in it.
Math isn't the only subject James is good at. His 3.7 grade point average is a testament to his good work.
Well, family, most of all, they were always like, you have to keep your grades, or you don't get this, you don't get this. So that was my main focus.
And James isn't lacking in school spirit. He plays in the marching band in support of Whitehall's football team.
It was great. I don't know. I was just that's my favorite time of the year is football season. Just because you can have so much fun. You can yell, holler, scream. I can play as loud as I want. Have so much fun. You see people everywhere. The game is going. It gets kind of an adrenaline rush.
Even though James loves music and supporting his football team, he will always come back to his first love, and that's numbers.
I don't know. I've always been good at it. Even in 8th grade, I was math counts, and even I'm on the Quizzle team just basically because of my math. Just in a nutshell. And I want to be an engineer, so it kind of runs along with that.
On behalf of the Arkansas Department of Higher Education, we'd like to say congratulations, Spirit Scholars. We're proud of all the things that you do in your school, in your community, and working towards a bright future. Keep those grades up. Have a great year.
Thank you, Kathy. Coming up next, more of HOOTEN'S Arkansas football. Class 4A highlights, including number 1 Stuttgart against Greenwood. And we'll head for the Delta for Pulaski Robinson against Wynn. Highlights of those teams and more. Class 4A highlights are next. Don't forget, it's Saturday night, and you're watching HOOTEN'S Arkansas football.
Of HOOTEN'S Arkansas football, brought to you by Sonic.
And we begin our Class 4A highlights with Greenwood from the Big Bad 4A West. The Bulldogs taking a trip to the Delta and to top-ranked Stuttgart last night. Stuttgart quarterback Freddie Dancy dumps the short pass to Cody Starks for the touchdown and a 7-0 Riceburg lead. Then Stuttgart tailback Keith Smith takes over, scoring from 5 yards out, and the Riceburgs were up 14-0. Greenwood did strike back, though. Senior quarterback Kirby Vitale will not be denied on this keeper, and the Bulldogs cut the lead to 14-7. But that was as close as Greenwood would get, as Smith led Stuttgart with 32 carries for 311 yards and 5 touchdowns. Final score, number 1 Stuttgart 53, Greenwood 14. People in Clarksville were turning flips following last week's upset win at number 1 seed Magnolia, and last night the Panthers were back home against Sylvan Hills. The Panthers got up early as Pierce Curran nailed this 51-yard field goal. The guy is unbelievable, and the Panthers were prancing when senior Scott Klein bulled his way into the end zone for a 10-0 Clarksville lead. But Sylvan Hills' super sophomore Kareem Kareem takes the ensuing kickoff up the middle, cuts to the sideline, and Kareem is gone. 97 yards for the touchdown, and Sylvan Hills is headed to the semis. Final score, Bears 42, Clarksville 17. Just down the road from Clarksville at Alma, the Airedales had been eliminated in the second round of the playoffs the past 2 years, and in the first half last night, it looked like BB might spoil Alma's title hopes again. BB went up 14-6 at halftime when quarterback Dwayne Lockhart ran up the middle for a touchdown, but Alma would answer with its quarterback, Dallas Smith, twisting and turning for yards. He gets the flag, and that would set up Kyle Goodwin's short touchdown run. But Alma gets stuffed on the 2-point conversion, and BB led 21-20. In typical fashion, though, Alma comes back. The Airedales scored 2 touchdowns in the final 5 minutes and win another close playoff game. Final score, tradition-rich Alma 34, BB 21. From Alma to extreme East Arkansas now, the Win Yellow Jackets were playing for their 4th consecutive trip to the Class 4A semifinals last night, but visiting Pulaski Robinson looked like the title contender, jumping out to a 28-7 lead on the defending state champs. But Win came back with a couple of scores in 5 minutes, including this 1-yard run by Ashana Reed with just over 10 minutes left in the game. The Senators led it 28-21 and went to work on the clock. Quarterback Clifton Matthews rolls right and finds Gary Anderson Jr. That was a big first down. Then senior running back Chris Lewis takes the pitch and gets a block from Matthews. And the Senators are on a 15-play drive that ate up almost 8 minutes of the clock. Robinson's drive would stall at the Win 8-yard line, and the defense did the rest, as Win failed to get a first down in the final 2 minutes and loses at home in the playoffs for the 3rd time in 4 years. Final score, Robinson 28, Win 21.
Great job. Fellas, you just beat the defending state champions. They can never take that.
Yes, that last drive was key. We had to move the ball. We were down 3rd and long there towards our end of the field. And we had to get a first down. We got the pass off, we got the first down, and we kept moving the chains.
Pulaski Robinson moves into Hooten's top 4 with 2 playoff wins on the road. Stuttgart's still the #1 team. The Ricebirds have scored 95 points in the playoffs. Stuttgart and Alma are both undefeated. They could meet in the title game. There's Sylvan Hills at #3, and the Win Yellow Jackets are not in the semifinals for the first time in 4 years. BB actually led at Alma 21-20 in the 4th quarter last night before losing by 13. Greenwood finishes the year at #7. The Bulldogs managed just 53 yards in the second half against Stuttgart. Clarksville's first season in Class 4A is over. The Panthers actually led Sylvan Hills 17-13 in the 3rd quarter last night. Hot Springs and Magnolia both won at Pulaski Robinson this year. Harrison starts the second 10, then it's Hope, Batesville, Crosset, and West Helena. The Billies are 16, followed by Bologna, Lakeside, the Devil Dogs, and Paragould at #20.
Now the sports medicine tip of the week from Martin Bowen Heffley.
We had a long bus ride now. Listen to me. They do not remember people that makes it to the 2nd round. They do not remember teams that just make it to the 2nd round. And it's time to go. You're not playing.
That's Russellville's coach Jeff Holt, whose Cyclones were aiming for their first trip to the Class 5A semifinals last night at West Memphis. And Russellville's high-flying offense was on the move early as Class 5A's all-time passing leader, Landon Leach, hits Tracy Steiger, and Steiger does the rest heading up the sideline. That's a nice Russellville gain. Then the pair would hook up again on the out pattern, and Russellville is in the red zone. Just 2 plays later, Leach finds a soft spot on the left side of West Memphis's defense, bulls into the end zone, and it's 7-0. Russellville's defense was on 2. Lawson Hippie and Jared Crenshaw on the sack, and the Cyclone D forces a punt. Russellville would get it back, and on the first play of the drive, Leach looks and finds Aaron Williams in the flat, and he's taking it to the house. Look at Aaron go, 50 yards for the touchdown. Leach would torment the Blue Devils with 381 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. But West Memphis would come back, responding on 4th and 1. Kyle Payne gets loose up the middle, all the way down inside the 10-yard line. And that would set up West Memphis's first score. Senior quarterback Mark Goss caps a 13-play, 80-yard drive with a sneak, and that made it 14-7. But in the final seconds of this one, Leach would throw a touchdown pass to Steiger, and Russellville advances to the semifinals. Final score, Cyclones 42, West Memphis 35. Another team from the 5A West looking to make it to the semifinals was Fort Smith Southside. The Rebels last night playing at Pine Bluff for the first time since 1990. And on Southside's first possession, running back Evan Tiller churns up some yardage for the first down and sets up the 20-yard touchdown pass on the fade route. It's John Thomas hooking up with sophomore stud receiver Slick Shelley. A little bit later in the first quarter, Thomas goes back to work, hitting Sean Penix for the first down on the screen pass. Then Thomas goes to the other side. finding Slick Shelley again, who slides in from 10 yards out for the second of his 3 first-half touchdown catches, and the Rebels were up 14-0. Thomas would go on to pass for 317 yards and 5 touchdowns as Southside advances to the semis for the 3rd straight season. Final score, Rebels 49, Pine Bluff 13. Top-ranked Springdale played host to the Jonesboro Hurricane last night, and the Bulldogs were big favorites and jumped on Jonesboro early. Zach Butler running 13 yards for the touchdown. That put Springdale up 7-0. Butler would finish with 105 yards last night, but he was far from a one-man show. Junior quarterback Brandon Martinez hits Dusty Johnson for the second touchdown of the night. Martinez passed for 150 yards, but he also ran for this touchdown. On defense, Springdale continues to play well. Sackers Heath Nelson and Kurt Warford worked the express lane, and the Bulldogs limited Jonesboro to 149 yards. Final score, Springdale 31, Jonesboro 10. The Conway Wampus Cats embarrassed Cabot 37-15 in the season opener. 11 weeks later, Cabot got its chance at revenge last night at Conway, and it didn't take long to start gaining it, as Conway's Seth Irons fumbled the opening kickoff, and Cabot's Jake Robertson pounces on the loose ball. 9 plays and a 4th down conversion later, Cabot's fullback Brandon Wade plows in from the 2-yard line, and Cabot would go up 8-0. Then, on Conway's first possession, Cabot read the Wampus Cat offense like a first grader, and John Blackystone intercepts the pass. That was just one of Conway's 4 first-half turnovers. A few plays later, Wade gets in for his second touchdown, and Cabot was up 15-0. But the Wampus Cats' Kevin Wardlow answers. Look at him, breaking 4 tackles, outrunning everyone, and going 73 yards for the shake-and-bake touchdown. That pulled Conway to within 15-8. But Cabot would pad its lead just before halftime. Wade will score his 3rd touchdown of the game, and Cabot gains its revenge. Final score, Cabot 29, Conway 8.
Man, it was unbelievable. We have so many people hurt, and people had to step up, and we got 2 players on the defense going, rotating and tackling. I mean, they were tired out there, but they did a great job for us.
We just kept driving the ball down the field and keep driving and driving. The line just came off well, and they just did their best, and we did all of us did our best.
And here is Hooten's Arkansas football Class 5A rankings. Springdale has been the Hooten's #1 team all season, and next week the Bulldogs get a chance to avenge their only loss of the year when they travel to Russellville. Southside is strong at #2, and Cabot moves up to #4. West Memphis, which started the season ranked #2, finishes the season at #5 after losing in the final seconds to Russellville. The Hootens had Conway ranked too high a few weeks back when we moved them up to #3. The Wampus Cats didn't even make the Final Four. Behind the Wampus Cats, it's Northside, Pine Bluff, El Dorado, and Bryant. Jonesboro starts the second 10 after a good year. Then it's Central, McClellan, Jacksonville, and Texarkana. Fayetteville's search for a new coach continues. Bentonville won the state championship last year. Then it's Lake Hamilton, Watson Chapel, and Searcy. Thanks again for watching Hooten's Arkansas football tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next Saturday. We'll be here all the way through the state championship games every Saturday night. And we look forward to seeing you again next week on Hooten's Arkansas football.